They're actually two separate fires, and they merged and became one. They became a complex fire. This picture right here shows as you're driving towards Linden, that's what the firefighters looked at. That's what they saw they were driving into to go and work and put out. But the fire started here. This was day one. Had they been able to stop it at day one, that would have been great. Because here's what it just mushroomed. And then it mushroomed again on days. It went from here, it went up like this. All this pinkish part is day three. And then this purplish, you can see the dates. They've dated them for which dates they were. And on the third day, Chediski Fire over here. This is the Rodeo Fire, started at the rodeo grounds. This is the Chediski. It was a pretty terrifying picture. This is the Safeway store. That 10 minutes before we evacuated, that's what the fire looked like. It looked like it was right there, right at the city. These trees are 100 feet tall. These are 100-foot ponderosas, and the fire's 100 feet above them. We had a 200-foot fire going. Sheriff Butler was trying to get a hold of Mr. Corrigan, who was the editor of the Independent then, was talking to Gary Butler, and Gary Butler says, it's horrible. And he wrote this on a box, and it was sent to us from the Independent. This is the plume from here, from Phoenix. The National Guard that were sent, we had over 10,000 National Guard troops here that came to protect the town. And the National Guard, it was nice to know that our properties were being guarded by the National Guard. And they did a wonderful job. The pictures of the president are new things that came in. He did come sort of to the fire. He was on his way to Alaska, and he bypassed and came down here. He was in the area over in Springerville for about 10 or 15 minutes, and only about 15 specific people got to see him. The actual people that had been evacuated never actually saw him. They parked his plane, his major plane, in Phoenix, shut down the airport for a couple hours. And then he was brought up here, flown up to Springerville, and he went someplace in Springerville and met with the officials. But he did come. On the guardrail along here, we lost 43 miles of guardrail between here and Hebrew Overguard. It literally burnt to the ground. This fire burned from June 18th to September 1st, actively burning, like you see in these pictures. And then it went underground, and it followed the root systems until December, and it was officially declared out around December 23rd, 24th, right for Christmas. But it was 6 months that we had an active fire going. I mean, where it was partially real active and then sort of active, because it was still going underground. It was spreading. And this is part of our children's recovery program that they did in the schools and at Northland Pioneer. They had several different programs working with adults who had lost stuff and children who had been through it. And these are some of the t-shirts. We had probably close to 100 t-shirts. I know I've got 35 that have something to do with the fire. And a lot of these, they've got the names. This would be a group of firefighters. They take their shirts, some of them would take their shirts off and donate them. And the money was used to buy trees and to rework fire damage, eliminate some of the fire damage, which was kind of neat. But I like this painting. This was a recovery painting. And it was like the struggle to get the fire contained. You can see that he's coming out. They're just going in to work on it. He's coming out, he's exhausted and he's discouraged, because just as they thought they had it, the pine cones would pop. And then we had people from churches and scout groups from all over the state and even from neighboring states that came in. It helped with the recovery. For as big as the fire was, we had no major injuries. We didn't lose, nobody died from the fire, no major equipment loss, they came back, and for the most part, they were overjoyed that we still had a community.